Garden City Literary Festival in its third edition, featuring Nobel laureates Wole Soyinka and J.M.G. Lucrezio. The theme of the festival in December 2010 was 50 years of post-colonial literature in Nigeria.
Any ethnic group that has no language, has no culture, it can call its own. Any ethnic group that has lost its language has become the slave of others.
The two special guest writers were apt for the purpose of the special celebration and its theme.
Both of you share an experience of a childhood in Nigeria. His was just for a couple of years, and he wrote that experience, as it were, the experience of a young boy in his book Onitsha, which is really based on his own experience. And then you have written Ake, your childhood memoirs. So we get this picture of a happy childhood, and it's the same thing we see in Lucrezio's work.
Wole Soyinka being the first Black African winner of the Nobel Prize for Literature. The French-born writer J.M.G. Lucrezio, who won the Nobel Prize in 2008, had lived a part of his childhood in Ugoja, Nigeria.
When I was 8 years old or so, with my mother and my brother, I went to join my father, who was a British medical officer in Nigeria, in a very remote place called Ogoja, in the Cross River district. And I spent probably the best 2 years in my life in this small village, playing with the children and getting to know the nature and to know also the people of Nigeria.
This was during the years of World War II.
I remember men chained up on the roads to Abakaliki, marching in cadenced footsteps. They were going to work digging the private swimming pool of the district officer. I remember also another district officer in the region of Obudu, close to the Cameroon border, who used to display in his drawing room the skulls of all the gorillas he had killed in the surrounding hills.
One of his pivotal novels is also entitled Onitsha. Lucrezio is as such a man of many worlds.
And the travel was very boring. So on the boat I began to write, and I wrote my two first novels there. One called, appropriately enough, A Long Voyage, A Long Journey, and the other more inventively, Black Oradi or Adi Noir, which recounted the adventures of a young African boy going home after a long absence.
Today he divides his time between New Mexico, France and Mauritius.
If, in the fashion of sociologist Amartya Sen, one establishes a ranking of nations in the present world, no longer according to their economic or military power, but according to their commitment to the intercultural ideal, one sees on the first level countries such as Bolivia or Ecuador or Peru, who have included such practices in their internal politics, teaching of languages, valorization of native cultures.
Soyinka's stature and literature speak directly to the theme of the festival. One of the leading literary figures of the first generation of writers after independence, his career and talent typify the literature of the post-colonial era. Soyinka's writings address the complex socio-political problems of that era, the internal struggles, the challenges of mutual coexistence, poor leadership, and the hope of renewal. A documentary film, Times Voyager, adequately connects Soyinka's achievement in literature and politics to his hometown background in Ake, Abeokuta.
I made a discovery which I want to share with you.
And I certainly review it myself.
Have been most interesting, gratifying, and also, of course, aggravating.
As I've said elsewhere before, my position vis-a-vis the internet, it should be featured, it should be decorated, all medals should be given to them, the Nobel Prize for Technology, Science, given to them. They should be seated on a white horse, drummers, buglers paraded through the streets, garlanded, flowers thrown at their feet, and then they should be taken to the nearest street and hanged. I've said the lesson to those scientific geniuses who bring trouble to us. Because the negativities of internet are beginning to feel, are beginning to outweigh the positive. And again, that's not the fault of the scientists, it's the fault of those who use it, and the fault also of those who have failed. That's the proportion that in schools, both in schools and at home and in governments, that some kind of check must be put in place to ensure that the younger generation does not thereby abandon the value we place on the actual reading culture.
Luclezio ultimately could not attend the conference in person. He fell ill in the week just preceding the festival. Even so, he was present in spirit and actually managed to share the podium with his fellow writer, Professor Wole Soyinka. His message to the festival was conveyed through a video transmitter.
I really want to thank the organization for this invitation. Especially, I would like to thank Mrs. Coco Kanango, who invited me kindly to come to Port Harcourt. And I would like to express also my thanks and my admiration towards Wole Soyinka. I've always admired and read his works, and especially a book that I read lately called Eke, because it tells a story of a young boy living in Nigeria, and in many aspects I find some reminiscence of my own life in Nigeria when I was 8 years old. My regrets not to be with you, and I'm hoping to be able in the future to come to Port Harcourt for this celebration of literature.
Port Harcourt, the famous garden city and venue of the annual fiesta, felt the pulse of the week-long events. Ebitimi Banigo Hall, University of Port Harcourt, played host to the opening ceremonies and festival conference.
Any ethnic group that has no language, has no culture, it can call its own. Any ethnic group that has lost its language has become the slave of others. Any ethnic group that is shy of its language is not worthy to live. The owners of that language are insulting God, who gave them the language.
The Senate Chambers of the university was the choice venue for one of the star events of the festival, an international conference and media forum in which the two special guest writers were to have a joint appearance. This event, like the long lineup of other festival activities, manifested the qualitative cooperation between the project managers of the festival, Rainbow Book Club, the government of Rivers State, the University of Port Harcourt, and the Association of Nigerian Authors. the Right Honorable Chineke Rotimi Amechi proved to be more than the inspirator for the whole festival. The state government under his leadership has made the festival possible. It was the moving spirit for the festival from the very opening day to the conclusion of the festival at the government house. Governor Amechi hosted more than the distinguished company of Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka and other reputable Nigerian and African writers. Vice President Namadi Sambo was also present at an awards and gala night held at the government house.
What I did as a friend on your right to the office or promotion to the office of the Vice President. And also welcome our dear Professor Oshenda and all other literary writers and critics who have come to join and our guests. The Excellency of the Vice President, today we have to ensure that you join us in celebrating music. And I was happy that you kindly accepted the invitation to host it with dinner. And join us in watching the beautiful presentation of the Feast of the Top. Let me say for me what I wanted to say about there on Friday. I didn't see the way forward. I assume that she presented the minorities of Nigeria through the job and the room. But I thought that I should identify my people very well in the culture, or the cultural presentation was not the way. But beyond that, we enjoyed ourselves.
This occasion also witnessed a command performance of the dance drama by the Nigerian poet Odi Ofemen entitled A Feast of Return. Festival events as well as a book fair took place, however, in the heartland of the city of Port Harcourt. The venue was the Hotel Presidential.
People that are in high places in society are important, but they are not even always heroes. So I don't want you to always think that when you're looking for a hero or a role model, it has to be someone far away, very visible, very well known. Do you understand what I'm saying? So all around you every day are heroes. Someone who shows extraordinary kindness is a hero. Someone who sacrifices that people may never hear about is a hero. It could be a parent, it could be an aunt, it could be a teacher, a Sunday school teacher, it could be so many things. And I would attribute what I am today by the grace of God to, well, my parents. The greatest influence I have had in my life is in the home, not outside.
A lineup of workshops, seminars, and interactive public sessions were running throughout the festival. Workshops were organized to benefit young and aspiring writers who received direct instruction from guest writers such as Helen Habila, Adaobi Tricia, Walgani, and Zainab Jalo, among others.
We just see it, maybe through what they say and all that. They don't need to tell us the economic situation of the area. They don't need to tell us where she where she went to school and all that, unless it's important. You see what I mean? It should be part of your research, because it's bringing research now into the story. Avoid that. Whatever you research is just for your information. Then you use it to characterize the person. But you don't have to put all that. It drags your story, it slows your story down. Because instead of moving to the action immediately, instead of showing a meeting between two people, we are having to digest all this information. We don't need it. Stephen Crane didn't tell us where Timothy Lane grew up, or where he was born, or how he joined the army. He just showed Timothy Lane in that situation, trying to bury his friend. And we judge all the other information through that. We know that he's a man of character. He must have had a solid upbringing because of all his values. Maybe some kind of religion is involved and all that. But we are not, the author doesn't tell us these things. We just kind of understand that through the character.
If you don't want to do the Lego, I'm sure it's possible to do it yourself, but why? Why would you do it yourself? Because somebody's collecting 50%.
How about that? After publishing,
No, not publish. He's telling me I can't discuss it. Like, he's my representative. I can't go to anybody else and talking about my book. And I told you about how Kasara phoned me after my agent signed the contract with me to tell me that they were interested in publishing my book. But because I already agreed with my agent that he will represent me in anything concerning that book, so I couldn't talk with Kasara about my book. But I could have told him, you can present me the rest of the world except Nigeria. I know a lot of authors do that, but I am glad I didn't do that. Because even Nigeria has, I don't want to be talking with them all the time. I've been talking about negotiating. Because remember that I told you this advance they're giving you. The agent negotiates for. It's not that they will say take $5,000 and you say thank you. And somebody could offer you more money, maybe $200,000, others are offering $100,000. Your agent will now tell you, yes, these people are offering more money, but they're not good in publicity. Remember I told you about how publicity is key. So you might say they're very good. They're good publishers, they give good advice, but their publicity is not very good. Like the agency, the publishers, Hyperion that published in the UK, in the US, they don't handle much fiction. They do just a little bit of fiction. Most of what they do are books for stars, maybe Desperate Housewives, maybe an actress is writing a book. That's mostly what they do. They do high-profile books. So they just do a little fiction. They might just say a few every month, just a few. So he was telling that they're very good in publicity because they deal with stars. And then he said that they're great with that. So your agent knows that. It's not just about the money. Even my UK podcast, they said the same thing that, oh, they're good with publicity. So there are many things an agent knows that you might not know. So he's your representative. He knows the industry, it's his job. How he does it, I don't know. But he's the one that, and like I told you, Writers House has branches in, and they have book fairs. I was telling you that what Mrs. Kalan was doing in this festival, she's combining so many things into one.
You must have a good plot. But before then, you have to have an idea what theatre is all about. You can't be a playwright and, be a fan of the movies. You just go to the cinema. How often do you see plays? How often do you immerse yourself in the medium of theatre? Who has seen a play lately? Did anyone see yesterday's? Okay. Even though theatre is not as vibrant as other genres or other, like the movies, people would rather go see the movies than go to a theatre. But what makes a vibrant theatre? What would motivate you to see a theatre? A good story, a good plot, great characters, action, which is what life is all about. So, what plays have you seen lately? What plays or how have you read lately that you're really, really excited about? And it's just gone to, right from Aristotle, had that Shakespeare, all down to Wole Soyinka.
A masterclass session was also held with the journalist Ruben Abati for non-fiction writers. There were roundtable discussions by leading publishers on the rise of electronic social networks.